Welcome to my channel, AquaStarGoddess. If you're new here, definitely subscribe. So what's going on? I know, it's been so long. It's been so long since I've been here. Been busy, girl, been busy. Very busy, yes. And that's all I got. I have nothing else, okay? No explanations, none of that. Just been busy. Okay. All right. Listen, I've been trying to do this little strike thing, but we're gonna have to go and do something with this head. Ain't nobody got time for this, okay? Nobody has time for this. Anyway, title. Shadow Man is trying to escape retribution. Do you guys remember in Princess and the Frog when the Shadow Man basically had to pay up? He had to give the soul, you know, of, what was it, the guy, the prince, what was his name? Prince, I can't even remember what his name was, but the prince, right? He was supposed to be given up the soul of Prince and all that shit like that. And when he couldn't do it, and the entities came to collect, okay, Shadow Man tried to run and they snatched his ass right on back through down in hell. Okay, they took his ass and dragged him down the hill, okay? I watched this video just a few seconds ago talking about Jay-Z and how he basically tried to siphon and steal the energy of Basquiat and he also tried to use Eazy-E's energy also, right? And he was showing that through his hair. So I found that to be very interesting because sometimes we explain spiritual concepts in words and it comes out being so many more words, right, than the feeling, I guess, right? Because everything that we kind of experience in the spirituality and the spiritual realm is basically a feeling, okay? It's all about feeling. So anyway, when he broke that down, and it just made me think about how that is that we try to explain spiritual concepts in English and in like human language, and sometimes it seems to be just like a bunch of blabber. But the thing is, when you're spiritual concepts are spiritual concepts, you know what I'm saying? So actually explaining a spiritual concept, it seems as though sometimes we have to find and search for the right words and terms and all that good stuff. But anyway, I understood this explanation that this guy was giving on TikTok about this whole Jay-Z siphoning energy from Basquiat and Eazy-E, because I felt that myself, and so I understood it easily. But some people may not understand because they don't get it. One of the things that he was mentioning was that in the industry, the music industry is highly magical, and that the music industry is highly, like, basically what he was saying is that it's like a bunch of, basically in the music industry, it's a bunch of witches and warlocks trying to be the better, seeing who's got the most power, right? Basically, basically it's like a battle of the power. And I gotta tell you, when I did my little pinky toe in the music industry, I instantly got that understanding. Like there was no confusion about what I understood when I stepped into that world. And this was on a very low scale, very low level, very much local, very local, very low level, very not doing a whole bunch. But I put my little pinky toe in there enough to know and see what it is and what it was, right? And I have a clear understanding now of what goes on in the music industry. And I think that there are a lot of people in the music industry who, especially like people who are coming into it and not having spiritual sense, right? I believe there's a lot of people that come into the music industry and they are literally like just shocked at what they understand, what they get to know, right? But for me, it's like, I think I was shocked to recognize that it was the magical world, but once I'm aware of what the magical, that it is a magical world, then I'm aware that there are other things that go along with that as well. So for instance, we talked about the Epstein's files, for instance, we talked about P. Diddy and the Diddler and you know, Epstein files and all that. It's so funny how knowledge builds upon itself, because all of the knowledge, everything that I have gained over several years, from the time that I was a kid till now, all helped me to better understand what we are talking about when it relates to the music industry being highly magical, and basically it's a bunch of witches and warlock in this motherfucker, right? So, okay, so when I dipped my little pinky toe in the music industry, I quickly understood that this was very much where a lot of people use magic. And one of the things that they do, one of their favorite methods that they use in this music industry is stealing energy from other people, stealing other people's shine. You know what I mean? Like trying to suppress people who have talent, you know what I mean? They suppress you and they try to keep you from, you know, going higher. And then they take that energy and they put it, either they use it for themselves or they put it somewhere where somebody that they can control. You know what I'm saying? There's usually always somebody who wants to control the scenario. But I got a clear understanding very quickly that even on the lowest level, okay, of the music industry, they are using magic, okay? So this is where I started, first off, I wasn't exposed to actual like magical work. I wasn't exposed to that throughout my life, right? And I guess maybe I wasn't exposed to it in the terms of like outward, right? Outward occult energy. It was more subtle. You know what I mean? Like we all have a little bit of hoodoo in us, right? Because our parents, my mama make the black eyed peas on the first, and you know, certain things, you know, don't be spitting on the brooms and don't do this and don't do that. You know what I mean? All those little superstitions were actually hoodoo practices that we just weren't aware was hoodoo, right? So as I grew to know, I grew to understand that a lot of those superstitions that we practiced, that we kind of were instilled in us since we were very young, were actually practices of hoodoo, right? Like hoodoo practices or like some sort of spiritual practice, right? So anyway, like I said, from the time that I'm young until the time I get older, all of these various different experiences and situations and scenarios and learnings and teachings that come about, eventually you recognize that it was all a whole big puzzle, right? And it, once you start putting that motherfucker together and you realize, oh shit, shit I learned when I was a kid is really helping me to understand this situation over here and blah, 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 you know, and so on and so forth. So the reason why I titled this video that the Shadow Man is trying to escape retribution is because, remember, like I said, I explained, I'm gonna explain it again. Remember in Princess and the Frog, remember how when the Shadow Man, it was time for him to pay up with souls, right? And remember how he turned around and he tried to run and the entities grabbed his ass and dragged his ass down the hill because he tried to run, right? He tried to escape retribution. He tried to escape the punishment, or he tried to escape giving his own soul. So he ran off, right? Because he was supposed to give some sort of soul or some sort of something to the entities, right? Because that's what he said he was gonna give them. He made a promise to the entities that he was gonna give them something in return for whatever it was that they was gonna give him. So I was watching this video on TikTok and this guy was explaining how Jay-Z took energy from Basquiat and from Eazy-E recently, and he was like basically using that energy to siphon from the dead. And it's very much giving the Shadow Man. Remember when the Shadow Man tried to run from the entities because the entities was like coming for him like, hey, it's time to pay up, buddy. It's time to pay the piper, right? It's time to pay the piper. All right, when it came time to pay the piper, The shadow man, he ain't had what he was supposed to have, so he was trying to run. And it's very much giving that. That's the energy that I'm getting from Jay-Z right now. It's very much giving that he's not, you know what I mean? Like he's trying to run away from whatever he's supposed to do. Now, this all circles back, and I know it a lot of the times, especially with this occult stuff, a lot of loose pieces from other sections of the world, other places, they all literally can come together from one core scenario, one core person, or one core occultist, right? A couple of things recently happened that have all come together for me, that have given me some idea or some inkling that there's some, you know, some sort of magical element here, right? The other day, we had the weirdest fucking flash storm I have ever seen since I have lived in Florida, right? Like, we have seen our storms, right? Like, we have seen our hurricanes, we have seen our tropical storms, we have seen our rain, we have seen winds, but this shit was crazy, right? And of course, I've been through several hurricanes and like major hurricanes. When Milton happened, I stayed right at my place. I didn't leave. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't travel out of town. I didn't evacuate. I stayed put, right? I stayed 10 toes down. And I watched that storm happen, before it happened, after it happened, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like the whole time I was here during that process. And to me, it's like any other storm. The storm comes, you know the storm is coming. You can go outside and you can look in the sky and you can see it's kind of eerie. You can say, you know what I mean? The sky always looks a certain way. The birds done already ran off. They done drove, you know, they done ran off down the street somewhere. There's always some sort of warning system, right? The other day, the day before yesterday, something like that, the weirdest fucking storm happened. So I'm gonna tell you, I was here in the office. One of the girls left. And then it's 2 minutes after she left, all of a sudden the wind just picked up really, really heavy and branches started falling. It was literally like a tornado, right? And for a second I was about to panic. I was like, oh my God, I need to go move my car. Cause it's like, my car was like right underneath the things. And something told me, girl, sit down, sit down. You don't need to do shit. And especially because I went outside, right? Like I went out there as if I was about to go move my car. And I was, you know, I was taken aback because it was really happening out there. Like it was really some shit going down out there. But there have been no warnings. There have been no, oh, there's this hurricane, look out for this, look out for that. There were literally no warning signs. And right before this storm happened, it was like sunny outside. Like it was literally like a sunny day. It was beautiful and shit like that. And then out of nowhere, completely, everything changed. The wind picked up so fast. And it started raining, and literally trees and all sorts of stuff was falling. So the wind was blowing heavily if the trees was falling. And there was trees in other places that fell too, like big trees were falling. So that to me felt very magical. That storm, I looked at my window and I was like, this is magical. That's the first thought that came to me was, this is magical. This is not no normal fucking storm. This is a fucking magical storm. And the reason why I said that though, is because like I said, I have been in this location, in this area for a long time. And I have seen hurricanes come. I have seen tropical storms come. I've seen little hurricanes, big hurricanes, little tropical storms, rain. I've seen various different hail. I've seen floods. I've seen everything, right? I've seen all sorts of storms. Not to mention, not even just living here, but I've lived in other regions of the US, right? And in other regions of the US, the storms are different, right? So I've lived in California, El Nino, you know. It's a funny thing about being in California, like in certain places in California, you get like in Hemet, you can get like a sandstorm, you know what I mean? You get knocked out by sand. And it's literally like a tornado that kicks up and it's just sand, you know what I mean? It's like the Sandman is coming at you or something. So I've been in that. I've lived in other regions where there's tornadoes, hurricanes, all sorts of energy, right? But weather is very predictable by way of, I mean, tornadoes not so much, but you always know when something's about to happen is what I'm trying to say, right? You always know when something's about to happen because you can just tell the energy shifts outside. You look at the sky, something's going on, the birds, they get to moving around, they get to going, like I got to go. So you always know something's gonna go on. This storm was so random. This motherfucking storm was weird as fuck. This motherfucking storm came out the sky. This motherfucking storm just came out of no fucking where. This was the fucking weirdest storm ever. And the moment that I looked out the window, because like I said, it was sunny. It was literally sunny. And then all of a sudden it got dark or darker. And I started hearing the winds. And I was like, is that wind? And I look out the window and it's going. I mean, the wind is blowing. It starts raining. And then trees and branches is falling. And I'm like, this is weird as fuck. There's been no news. There's been no warning. They usually, they got the phone warning system. I would see it on the computer. I would see it somewhere that there's a goddamn storm coming. There was no warnings about the storm, right? But when I looked outside my window and I saw how fast, it almost looked like a tornado, right? I was like, oh, this is magic. This is magical. But I think that it was the reversal of something, right? I want to say that this was like, kind of like when energies collide. You know what I'm saying? When energies collide, it can create a storm. So this is something that I just feel like I'm able to, like, there's certain things that I can see because I pay attention. I've been paying attention long enough, or I've been watching patterns or tracking stuff, tracking patterns and things like that. And that very much felt very magical, very much like a reversal. Okay. So I said all that for what? I said all that because of this. Like I said, there are energies that are I feel like this is a very special, unique time that we live in, especially when it comes to magic and magical things, because everybody is starting to understand a little bit more about their wonder. Like, everybody's starting to have a little more wonder, a little bit more magic, a little bit more whimsical to them, right? Which I don't think is a bad thing, right? Because I feel like there have been a bunch of energies that have been operating, and they have been successfully operating under the guise that they are the only ones with this type of power and that everybody else doesn't have that power and nobody else is special. Kind of like this exclusivity thing, right? And also kind of like this suppressing others so that they can seem more powerful. And I think that it's particularly important for us to recognize things like this because everything is cyclical. Everything has a pattern. Everything has a telltale sign. Like, you're gonna realize when you start paying attention to certain things that life is. There's a lot of predictability about things that go on and that things that happen, right? Obviously, there are some unpredictable things, like that storm was fucking unpredictable. It's like, what the fuck happened here, right? Obviously, there are gonna be some of those things. But a lot of times, when you are watching and when you're paying attention, you can almost see things happening. So when this person broke down on TikTok about this whole Jay-Z stealing Basquiat energy and using easy energy and kind of like using necromancy or whatever, it made sense to me, right? Like, to me, it was like, yeah, I can see that. Right? Like, I can see that because it's very much has been feeling like he's been like running from his own destiny, or it's like he's been running, he's trying to escape destiny, you know what I mean? Like, he's trying to escape his outcome to some degree. And maybe it's not something that you can physically see, but it's energetic, right? And this is the thing about this channel. It's like, we talk about magical things. We do tarot readings. We talk about astrology and all this stuff like that. But the actual magic of life, you can literally see it a lot of the times, right? Like, I can see the shit. Like I said, that storm was fucking magical. Nobody can tell me that it wasn't. That fucking storm was fucking magic in some way. And I mostly feel like it was the reversal of something. Like, it was a reversal. And it's so interesting because when I looked out the window, the energy was going in this way, like a rewind or like a reversal type cyclone. Like, it was like this direction. There are so many magical things that just happen around us on a regular basis. When you start paying attention to these things, then you can pick up on other things. Like when we looking at Jay-Z and seeing that, no, he's not saying these things out loud. No, nobody else is saying these things out loud, but you can see and feel and read the energy. And this is what this is about. Like, I want you guys to recognize that there are things that you can see in life that will allow you to read the energy, okay? Read the fucking energy. And you got to read the energy at the end of the day, because if you don't read the energy, you could be ending up in some fucked up situations when you don't fucking read energy, okay? Okay, feel me? And this is the importance. This is the reason why it's so important to do so, because listen, there are a group of people out there that have been preying on you just because they have been teaching you that you shouldn't read energy. They have been teaching you, oh, that's demonic. They've been teaching you that, oh, that's the devil's work if you use your natural given abilities, right? And some of these abilities are natural and given to you, but some of these abilities you have to practice throughout time. And of course, both of those things go together, okay? But I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like I'm just kind of speaking and thinking out loud, because there's just so many things that are happening around, like things that you just see, like things you see out in the world or whatever. Not anything specific, but just things that are happening outside the world that kind of give you an indication of the type of things that are occurring behind, I don't know, behind closed doors, in secret rooms, whatever. You know, things that people don't say out loud, but that are there. Anyway, how have we been doing? Hopefully we've been doing good. Me, girl, working on this website. Girl, did I tell you? I am so excited about the work that I've been doing. You know, I took a great break from my marketing agency, and now that I am like back to like designing, I am like excited about the new designs, because, and even the old designs. So like some of my old, it's so funny because like time can pass, and then you can come back to something that you've done like years ago, whatever, and you be like, actually that shit was kind of lit. Like I actually I put my foot in that. I put my foot in that shit. So like I'm just looking at some of my old design work, right? And I actually happened to do my very first website recovery from it, maybe not, but yeah, my very first website recovery from a database type of way. This is the first time that I've done this, and so I was excited to do that. It wasn't super hard. It was kind of easy, and you know, for me anyway. But when it was done and when it came back together, like at the final thing, I was just like, I was proud. Like I'm proud of myself right now. Like, cause let me look at it. When I pull it up, I'm just proud of myself, because I feel like, you know what, girl, you did that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you did that. Oh, I gotta hook y'all up to something. Oh, there it is. Okay. I just felt like proud of myself, you know, because it's like over the last year or two, I have experienced quite a bit of things. There have been a lot of changes, shifts. I had gone through some ups and some downs, some bullshit and all this good stuff. All of my websites were down. Okay. Like every last one of them. All of my money just completely decided to stop working, right? And I'm sure that has a lot to do with whatever potential workings have been doing. But you know, the funny part about it as well, it gave me the opportunity to really kind of think about what I'm doing and where I'm going in life, right? And what do I actually want to have present in my life? And so I had stopped working on my marketing and everything for a little while, and I've come back to being like, nah, I think I like doing that. Like, I think that's like my flagship business, my flagship industry, right? Like that's the first successful business I had, right? And so even though I paused it, like completely, you know, paused it, now I'm just like, okay, this is like, just looking back at my portfolio, looking back at the work that I've done, I'm proud of myself, right? And I think that that is, I'm proud of myself because at the end of the day, I decided I wanted to do something. I did it. You know, I always do, right? I always decide I'm going to do something and do it. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And I think that with my marketing company, like I always want my ideas and my projects and my businesses to work out. But I think with the marketing company, I really took my time, which I always do. I'm not saying anything new, honestly, because like I take my time with the things that I do when my planning and my agendas. Like I'm really thorough when it comes to whatever I do with business. I don't fuck around when it comes to that. When it comes to my money, my making my money, my running my businesses, I don't fuck around. Like I want to be an honest integrity. You know what I mean? Like I believe in honesty. I believe in integrity. I believe in doing good things and being righteous as I can. You know what I'm saying? So, that's just how I feel. That's how I want to be in life in general. So that's not something it's not saying much when I say that personally, but I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of myself because I realized that sometimes you look back at what you've done and you realize, damn, I've done way more than I thought that I've done. Yeah, I didn't realize how much I'd done. And sometimes you don't realize how much you've done or what you're doing while you're in the act of doing it, right? It's because you're doing it. And so you're just doing it and you don't get to see. And even though I've had like what you would call considered failures, they're not that bad, right? Like this, like, you know, when I look at it, it's like, of course it could have been better, but it could have been a lot worse too. So like, I'm just looking at this design and also sometimes when you get an outside opinion of what you have done or what your work is, you know, sometimes we expect to get like negative output, negative reflections from others about what we've done. And sometimes when you get like just a straight, genuine understanding of what you've done, you realize like, oh, I really am that. Like I am that. Like I did that. Like I did that. And so anyway, I hope you guys are taking the chances and the opportunities to like be proud of yourself and congratulate yourself when you've done something, you know, worth, well, not worth, because maybe everything is worth your congratulations, right? Like maybe everything is worth you being proud of, because maybe it's something very simple. Like I can go back to something that was so simple that I was proud of with myself, which is when I pulled myself out of a depression. Okay? Yes. And when I'm saying out of a depression, I mean like I was a walking like zombie for a little bit. Not because I was on drugs, not because I wasn't on drugs. I wasn't an alcoholic, none of that. But I was depressed. I was strongly depressed at a point a long time ago. And I had gotten to a point where I didn't want to get up anymore. I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to get dressed. I didn't want to do my hair. Of course, right now my hair is not done, but it's not. It has nothing to do with depression. It's not a depression thing. It's just I took my hair out of my twists and I've been rocking my natural hair for like a little bit now. So anyway, I was in a depression, you know, some years back, and I remember just feeling dead. Like I remember just feeling like, why am I even alive if I'm gonna feel like this? I don't, you know what I mean? Like, you ever feel like a black hole? That's what I felt like. It felt like a black hole, right? And I remember like one day realizing that I was in a depression and realizing that I couldn't stay like that or I would die, right? Because this is the funny part about how you learn in life, right? I've been able to come to this channel with you guys and talk to you about things that we consider spiritual concepts, right? I've been able to talk to you about the law of attraction. I've been able to talk to you about the law of assumption and how we, you know, how we change the life that we live, right? And it all comes back to some of the worst times in your life will really teach you the deepest concepts, really. And I learned through my depression or through taking myself out of a depression, right? Because it got to a point where it was like, Well, first and foremost, you got to know nobody's going to do it for you, right? And I knew that nobody was going to do it for me because every day I was depressed and nobody knew, nobody cared, nobody asked, nobody, you know what I mean? Like, it was nobody that was coming to save me, right? And this was a long time ago. Like, my kids were like toddlers. I mean, they weren't even toddlers. They were like at my waist though, right? Like, they were like at my waist. They were still little, still a little bit little, right? So anyway, I just remember feeling like just really dead. Like, I just felt dead. Like, for lack of any other explanation, that's how I felt, right? And I remember knowing that if I did not fix it or get myself out of that energy, that I would eventually die. And that's how deep the knowing is, right? Like, and that is why I'm able to come to this channel and talk to you guys about these concepts. It's not because I was always this, and I've always been very enthusiastic about, well, maybe I haven't always been enthusiastic about life. Maybe I've had moments where I was like in a dark space, you know, you being a dark teenager and shit like that, all gloomy for no fucking reason. But yeah, it's so funny. That's probably why I do choose to be enthusiastic about life, is because I know what it feels like to not be. And it's not a fun place. Listen, it's not a fucking fun place when you don't even recognize that you have so many things that should motivate you in life, right? Like, it's not a fun place to be where you aren't even able to get yourself up because you're just not enthused with life, right? It's not a fun place to be, but I will tell you that those darkest moments helped me to very much understand the process and the concept of creation and life and all of that. Because even when I was in a depression, right, I had, and this is another place where we recognize mind over matter, right? Mind over matter is always the case. Because I knew that if I did not get myself and drag myself out of that depression, that I would eventually die. You ever heard the statement, she died of a broken heart, or people died of broken hearts, or things of that nature? Those are concepts that are not physical, right? And the colonized world, I'm gonna call it that because that's exactly what it is. The colonized world teaches us that, oh, there's only the physical and there's only the mental. The emotional is not important, it doesn't matter. The spiritual doesn't matter, it's not important, but that's not true. And I think that they teach that because that's the only way that they can control you, right? Because I believe that the colonizer doesn't have that many faculties. Us, human beings, we have more faculties than the colonizers have. We have that spiritual realm that they don't really tap in. They don't know how to tap into it that much. They can't tap into it, most of them. But some of them can, but most of them can't. So that's why they have to tell you not to use your spiritual abilities, right? Because they will never be able to beat you. They will never be able to win against you if they didn't use, you know what I mean? Like, if you always had all of your faculties and you always use all of your faculties, they would never be able to win against you. Never. So they have to teach you that your faculties that you have that they can't see, those are evil. That's the devil stuff. That's evil. You don't want to use that. That's evil. Because otherwise they have no chance. So anyway, get back to the depression talk. Anyway, I was in depression and I knew I had to get myself up. So I started small. I started by just getting up and getting dressed. Getting up. Matter of fact, I started by getting up and sitting at the table. Because I was laying down, I was sleeping all the time, and I didn't want to get up. So I said, okay, you gotta do something. You gotta do something. So I got up and I walked to the table and I sat down at the table. And that was an accomplishment that day, right? So for me, when it comes to you celebrating your accomplishments and your achievements, it doesn't matter how big or how small it is to me, because what matters is what it is for you, right? So you have to be able to recognize those things for yourself. What are the things that you want to be excited about in life? What do you want to congratulate yourself about in life? What is an accomplishment for you, right? Because like I said, when I was bringing myself out of depression, it was an accomplishment for me to get up and sit at the table. that was an accomplishment for that day. It was an accomplishment for me to get up, shower, get myself dressed, and actually put clothes on that weren't just like t-shirts, and you know, for me to put an actual outfit on, for me to put heels on or sandals or something like that on, like something that didn't look like I was going to sleep, or, you know, that was an accomplishment. So when it comes to you celebrating the things that you're proud of with yourself, don't let the outside world tell you what that is, right? Because the outside world doesn't know how you feel inside. Only you know that. And when you know that, you know what an actual accomplishment for yourself actually is. Maybe today your accomplishment is, I didn't smoke weed today. I didn't smoke crack today. I didn't drink alcohol today, right? Like, and I'm saying these not to be funny. I'm literally saying these because that could be an accomplishment for you, right? Whatever the accomplishment is for you, that is what we are referring to, okay? All right, I'm switching topics so fast because first we were talking about Jay-Z and Basquiat, necromancy and some other shit. Now we're on here talking about your accomplishments and achieving and, you know, all that shit like that. But I don't know. I think the conversations, they kind of run into one another sometimes. Okay, now I said all of that because I built one of the most beautiful websites I have been running a blog since 2011, and it has gone through multiple changes, multiple name changes, multiple domain name changes. It has gone through times where I was writing every day or every week to times where I wasn't writing at all. I had stopped writing 2 years ago, okay? I decided to rebuild that site, and when I built it, I wanted it to be almost like, you know, like a magazine, basically, like an online magazine. And I went back and realized how beautiful I had done on that, you know, like how good I had done. And yeah, at the time it was just the work that I do, you know what I mean? Like, I just do this, and it was cute and I was cool and everything, but it wasn't something that I took the time to savor and to celebrate and to enjoy. And so recently, when I rebuilt that site from a database, okay, I looked at it and I was like, you really did that. Like, like, no girl, but like, look at this. Like, your work is pristine, okay? Like, this is good work. So that's why I say celebrate your accomplishments, right? Allow yourself to be proud of the things that you've done, that you feel that you should be proud of. And it's not for somebody else to tell you what it should be. It's not for the outside world to say, oh, you shouldn't be proud of that. Fuck them, okay? And like I said, at one point when I was when I was pulling myself out of depression, it was an accomplishment for me to sit at the table. That was an accomplishment. So, you know, that's why I said, like, it's not up to somebody else to tell you what an achievement is for you for the day is. That's for you. Okay? All right. And, yeah, I don't know how this came from there, from where we was originally talking about to here, but that's okay. So in light of that, I have decided that no, I'm not going to give up on it. I'm not going to let my agency go. I'm going to just do it better. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta think about this stuff. Sometimes you gotta think about shit. You know, I had to have a little moment, had to have a little sit down with myself for a little bit and do other stuff. But I think I've been doing what I wanted to do. I just think that I wasn't doing it to its fullest potential. I was doing it just to, in a way where it's like just to know that I could do it, but I wasn't doing it to be truly successful with it, right? I was just doing what, I guess, the bare minimum, right? I guess the bare minimum, shit. And that's the funny part about this. Like, if the bare minimum was what I did, then the sky is the limit. The sky is not the limit. There's no limitation to this within this industry, because yeah, I'm kind of competitive when it comes to certain things. Like, I think I'm kind of competitive with certain stuff. Quietly so, though. Like, I'm not loud about my competitiveness. I'm very quiet about it. You know, it's not no need for me to, you know, be all in somebody's face about it, right? But understand that once I put my mind to it, we'll be mad. We're reaching our quota, okay? We will reach our quota, all right? But anyway, you know, I don't know why it took so long for me to recognize this, but I think, you know, sometimes when you're going through different changes in life, you have like a mental fog where it's just like you can't really process, or your brain is processing everything that has been occurring. So you might not even really be able to focus on what you think you should be able to focus on. So now here I am a whole year later, right? Because literally a year later. It is 2026, right? It's July 13th, 2026. So it's literally a whole year later where I've realized, yeah, I'm definitely, I mean, this is cute and all, but this ain't my life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is not my life. All right? But it was necessary for me to have this moment where I took a break from all of the things, or everything. Matter of fact, I'll just call it this. I'll call it what it is. Everything fell apart, right? But you know how they say sometimes things fall apart so that they can come back together even stronger or even better, right? I really feel like this is that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, there are things that I have done previously that I just hadn't taken the time personally to just congratulate myself and celebrate what I was doing, celebrate my own work, right? Like you did that. Like, girl, you literally did that. And I just feel like, you know, sometimes you actually are on the path that you're supposed to be on. You just question it the whole time. You just don't know for sure, or you're not taking it as seriously as you could. And that's basically what I'm saying. You know, what I've understood is that, yeah, I'm doing what I'm supposed to been doing. Like, I'm doing what I was supposed to be doing. Like, I'm doing what I was gonna do. I said I was gonna do this, and I did that, and I'm gonna continue to do that. But I wasn't doing, like I said, I wasn't doing it to the fullest potential that I'm capable of. I was doing just enough to, you know, to make it make sense. But I wasn't running my full play, basically. So I don't know. I guess I'm just reflecting on life right now, right? Like, because I mean, this, like, you gotta understand, like, my work is good, like, great. And the funny thing about it is that it's so funny too, because I remember even like having a conversation with a client, right? And then he was working with another agency that was doing like some kind of they were doing an app, right? They did the app and everything. And when he came to me, he was like, oh, I was gonna do the actual website. And I remember the guy at the agency like, can you work with this and that? And I looked at the phone like, nigga, what? Nigga, what? But that's some of the things as a woman in business, and especially in male dominated spaces, you're gonna have to deal with some men who think that you're not capable. Excuse me? These motherfuckers started stealing started trying to steal my thunder. Motherfuckers would like call me and have consultations with me to understand my process or understand certain things because I was better than them, and I'm still better. You know what I'm saying? Like, and sometimes you do not realize that about yourself. That's another. This is something. This is a recurring conversation that we've been having. Sometimes you that you. Now these niggas know that I'm that, right? Now they know that I'm that. They don't. You don't know that you that sometimes, right? And so there have been moments in my career where I have allowed people to play in my face, for lack of better words, right? And it's not too often. I'm gonna be real with you, because I don't, not too often, right? Like I'm pretty firm with certain stuff, but now I realize that you know, you lowballed yourself, kind of, right? Kind of situation, because the work that I put out, my goal, the work that I produce is in alignment with my goals. Meaning that the quality that you're going to get with my work is in alignment with my ultimate goals. Like, I have goals of reaching certain heights. Anyway, that's not the point. Let me get off myself, because this is crazy. I'm just proud of myself. Honestly, I'm really proud of myself. I'm really proud of the work that I've done over the years. And I think that now I'm stepping into it with a different level of clarity and a new set of glasses, right? Like, I have a new set of shades on, okay? And these shades are more so knowing that I am that, okay? And so I just feel more equipped to step into this arena and knock some shit down. And I'm kicking all this shit over. Yeah. I'm kicking all this shit over. I'm ready, bitch. All right. So anyway, you know, I think that's the important topic. We're gonna switch gears now, because at the end of the day, I don't think that there's any industry that I have, you know, been interested in that is not going to be considered some sort of male dominated space. And I'm gonna be honest with you, that don't mean nothing to me, because I have, through business, you know, I have learned that, you know, men could be some of the most insecure things there are. And no shade to the men out there, like no shade to y'all or nothing, but yeah. If you are a woman, you are doing business or anything like that, like, don't question yourself, and don't allow others to make you feel as though you should question yourself when it comes to knowing what you know. Like, right, you know what you know, and people will test you, trust me. And rightfully so, though, be honest with you, because, you know, at the end of the day, everybody has to stake their own claim, right? And I think, though, as a woman, if you are not like reared for that, then you don't have that understanding that you have to, basically, you gotta, like, yeah, you're gonna have to stake your claim. Okay? Against all odds, against all opposition, against all fronts, whatever the fuck. Yes, you are going to have to stake your claim. You are. You want a piece of that pie? You're gonna have to get it. You're gonna have to go snatch it. You certainly are. And so this is another thing about just in general, like whatever it is that you're doing in life. I want to be clear. I have never been a damsel in distress type lady. Not ever. I only recently started to understand that, you know, over recent years, only recently started to gain an understanding of that ability, but it's not something I'm really interested, or I'm not particularly interested in being a damsel in distress. So, you know, it just doesn't interest me like that. Because my thing is, hey, listen, if you see that I need some assistance or something, why do I got to be a damsel? Why can't you just recognize what it is and do it? Why do I got to be a damsel in order for you to do what you're supposed to already do anyway? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me, right? But morning. But yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, I just feel like, you know, at the end of the day, okay, there's always going to be an opportunity for you to show the world what you're made of. And sometimes it's going to come after long, dark moments, long, dark periods, right? Like I said, a lot of times I present myself in the world and in life as enjoying life, because I do, okay? And as being very enthusiastic about life, because I am. But I needed to be known that there was a period of time where I was not. I was in my darkest space in life, right? At a point. And in reality, that dark point or that dark space is what really taught me how deep manifestation and all of the stuff that we talk about on this channel actually goes, right? Because when you're at a space in life when you're so in a dark hole that you recognize, oh shit, if I don't get myself out of this dark hole, I'm going to die, right? Because you feel dead, right? And when you feel a certain way, better believe you can bring that shit into real life. Better believe you can manifest that feeling. And so that's why you have to be careful. You've got to be careful about the things you say. You've got to be careful about how you feel. You've got to be careful about the things that you allow yourself to vibrate in and ruminate in, because you can become those things. Yeah. So, yeah. So anyway, fuck you. Fuck you. Yeah, fuck you. Anyway, um, um, just know that, guys. Just know that, okay? Just know that. All right. Just know that. Oh man, I can't do no more. I need to upgrade this. My little game, I ran out of space. I can't even move no more. What should I get rid of? Get rid of these shits. Don't nobody, you don't ever do nothing with these. Get rid of these shits. All right, I'm gonna get rid of all of them. Just do it all. Here we go. I'm gonna do you too, motherfucker. Keep coming back. I'm gonna keep getting rid of your ass. Fuck you. Alright. Anyway, okay, so like I'm excited about some of the just discoveries that I've had, and a lot of these discoveries are just personal self things, you know, nothing extraordinary, and it doesn't have to be, because, well, it is for me, you know, it is for me. Oh, I got these right here. Run out of space again. Oh, my speaker went out. Okay. So, yeah. So anyway, you know, I was watching this video, and this video was this guy talking about Jay-Z and all this stuff like that. And I think that's what really encouraged me, because it's like these spiritual concepts can come to you. This is so what really made me think about this is because he was getting very in depth about, he was talking about Jay-Z and necromancy, and he was saying that Jay-Z's hair had to do with him like copying this guy called Basquiat, and how Basquiat didn't want Jay-Z to have his energy or didn't like it, so he basically fought it, and then that required Jay-Z to use Eazy-E's energy or some shit like that, right? And for a minute, I'm thinking, for just a second, for a split second, I'm like, the fuck is you talking about, right? But then I start realizing, no, actually, I have picked up on some of this energy as well, where it's like Jay-Z is trying to find an out, basically. I feel like Jay-Z, magically, energetically, he's trying to find an out, because I believe that we're at a time where there's a lot of retribution occurring. And there's a lot of go backs, basically. Like, there's a lot of things that are coming back to people, right? And you're basically, it's time to pay the piper, basically, right? And so there's a lot of situations or scenarios where normally it might work one way and now it's not working that way anymore. Or like maybe because, like I was saying with the shadow man, right? Because I originally was talking about the shadow man with this topic, because I feel like I'm getting that a couple energies from Jay-Z. One is that he is trying to find a way out, right? Another thing is like with the shadow man. Remember how in Tiana, not in Tiana, but in the Princess and the Frogs, when it was time for the shadow man to pay up, right? Because the entities were looking for that. They were looking for him to give his payment for whatever he promised for them to do the magical work, or for them to do whatever they was doing. He couldn't pay, and so he was trying to run, right? So like, I feel like that's what's happening, like energetically. It's like you can see it, and I feel like that's kind of what's occurring with Jay-Z right now, which is why he would be trying to siphon energy from entities that are not here, or from energies that are alive. I just feel like I don't know why he's not getting from living energies, though. That's a good interesting question to ask that I haven't considered. Well, maybe that's the way that he's operated and he's worked, because if you think about it, Aaliyah, Tupac, Aaliyah, who else was it? What's his name? Biggie. Tupac, Aaliyah, Biggie. Left Eye. During the time that they all passed, which is all of them passed like around a very, very close proximity of time, right? When they all passed, that was like right at the beginning of Beyonce's solo career, right? And if they were using magic back then, which I believe they were, because like I said, I was just telling you guys, I only did my little baby toe in the music industry, and I was in that motherfucker for the shortest period of time, and I knew instantly that the way that motherfucker operated was through magic. I knew instantly that the music industry operated through magic, and I only did my little tiny baby toe on that motherfucker, right? And I knew instantly I knew. There was no question about it. No question about it. And I'm not even that familiar with magic. I hadn't been that familiar with magic at all at that time. But I had to quickly learn, because, the way that I felt, well, even though I wasn't into magic, I still have abilities that I refused to not use, right? Well, not refuse to not use, it's just that they were naturally with me. And I wouldn't. So I was able to pick up the energy, the information, right? So I was able to pick up the information and everything as I was kind of, diving in and learning about the stuff, or learning about just going into the industry and just really getting into it. I could see and read the energy and feel the vibes and all that shit like that. Like, the shit just came naturally to me because that's just, what the fuck it is. But so as I was like navigating that world, I was like, oh, this shit is magic. These motherfuckers is really using like voodoo and shit. Like, these motherfuckers is really using this shit. Like, it's not a game. Like, these motherfuckers really using it like that. And then when they started to try to use it on me, I was like, oh shit, like I gotta learn how to protect myself because they not about to kill. I'm getting 1 to 5, 1 year. I feel like 1 year time frame, and maybe that storm had to do with the 1 year reversal. I feel like maybe there was something done about a year ago. Maybe that's what it was, something like that, or I don't know. But it just felt strongly like a reversal. Like, that's what I saw in the energy and in the. It just felt like that because it was so fast. It was like quick. 10 of chalices with the 7 of chalices. Earlier today I was watching this show and the thoughts, a man can only love one woman at a time, came to me. A man can have sex with multiple women can lay in a man's bed. A man can care about multiple women. A man can have multiple women on his mind. A man can all that, but I feel that only one woman can be in a man's heart at a time. Now, obviously, that might come with a tiny bit of pushback. Like, some people might be like, oh, but I've been in love with 2 people at the same time. You may have had 2 people on your mind at the same time, but could you have loved them both at the same time is the question. And I said a man specifically because, I don't know, the show that I was watching was, this man had, he had a couple of wives, couple concubines, all that shit like that. But his latest concubine, or latest concubine, which he made his lady, his main wife, or like he made her a lady, right? He started to like love her, and like she was like his main like focus, right? And of course he cared about the other ladies. They were there, they were around, he had them on their mind, but he didn't love them. He loved her, right? And so, yeah, I don't know why that's coming up, but I'm feeling that needed to be said. Yeah, okay, so to elaborate, to expand upon that, it was also one of the thoughts that came across was that he could be in the presence of one of those other women that on his mind, but not love that woman, and there could be another woman in his heart, like in his heart. And I don't know about that for sure, because I've gotten a lot of, the internet noise has been so loud the last couple of years. So, and there have been some people, or some people that have said opposite, that, oh no, that's not in, blah blah blah. I don't know. I don't know why, but these cards are reminding me of those thoughts from earlier. So I don't know why, because I'm getting the 10 of chalices and the 7 of chalices, right? And the 7 of chalices is used, 7 of cups usually represents like multiple opportunities. But sometimes I take it as like multiple people also, right? Not often, but sometimes. Then we have the 10 of chalices. And the 10 of chalices in this one, he particularly wants to, like, he's running to try, like, satisfy this woman, or to get what she needs and what she wants. And he's, like, caring about her in that way. And I was thinking about it today. And it's like, okay. So, like, and this was mentioned to me. I saw this post, I think, on TikTok or something like that, about Gomez. You know how Gomez is with Morticia, and yeah, pretty much the way that Gomez is with Morticia, that's how you want that's what you want when you're with somebody, when you're partnered with somebody. Yeah, you want them to be into you like that. And I can agree with that. Like, right? Like, I'm gonna be real with you. Yeah, no, yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I do not have the same viewpoint that a lot of people have, and I've seen a lot of people on the internet speaking, talk about how they feel and all this and that and that. Now, while I get and I understand that there is reality to what they're maybe saying, like for instance, the sprinkle lady, but it's just not the reality that I'm interested in participating in, right? It's not the reality I'm interested in living. The reality I'm living is where the man that I choose to be with, the man that I'm with, he loves me just as much as I love him, and we love each other, right? And we care about each other in those ways. And I'm just not interested in being in dynamics where it is not the case. I'm just not interested in that. That doesn't interest me at all. And you know the difference based on what you feel. You know how it is based on what you feel. The experiences that you're having in life, and this is one of the reasons why I know when women get into relationships with men, it's like you always know who and how this person is and what they're gonna do or how they're gonna be. You do. But sometimes you talk yourself out of it. Sometimes you make yourself think otherwise. And of course, I'm not faulting anybody for any of this, but I do not personally feel like you cannot be aware of men and how they do things or their intentions or anything like that, because usually they're telling you in some way or another, right? Like a man will let you know in some way or another, and usually they're not trying to let you know, but they let you know anyway, right? I don't know how this conversation got here, but all I'm trying to say is you choose the type of life that you want to live, but I'm not interested in spending my time with a man that I'm not like, that I don't have the potential to have love with, to be in love with, or for him to feel that way with me. That's just not me, right? Like for me personally, I'm not interested in spending my time with somebody I don't love. Why would I do that? I feel like that was still life for me. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it's less likely that I will have a longer, healthier, happier life and that's I don't know, I guess that's a matter of opinion, because nah, it's not a matter of opinion. Yeah, that's a very important aspect of a connection and of a relationship. At the end of the day, when you love somebody, you give them care, you give them affection, you give specific things that you need to give in the mental, emotional side of life that you don't give when you're not invested in those ways, okay? So you shouldn't be invested in those ways if that man is not invested in those ways, and that's just it. And that doesn't mean that you may not have love for somebody that doesn't love you also. That just means that you're not going to extend yourself in those ways. You're not going to overextend yourselves in those ways if you're not getting that reciprocity in those directions, right? The magic is here. The Magician just showed up with the Knight of Chalices, which is interesting because the Knight of Chalices is always this guy like admiring this woman in the background. See how he's like in the background watching her? And then look at the magic here. What is this all about? Honestly. This website looks so fucking good. I love this website. Oh, and this is cute too. Okay. I love that. I love this. All right, let's get some clarity. Spirit, clarify what's going on here. A lot. The Lovers wanted to come out. I feel like a plot. This has been a plot to take some money from somewhere, from someone. There's some information in there that I'm not particularly at the space or the energy to like dissect. I'm not even gonna open the can of whatever the fuck this is. Okay, not interested. I'll put these cards back here because I'm not interested honestly in reading that energy. I will say this, Spirit, give me a reading for the next 3 days, clear and concise. Travel. Maybe somebody's going to do some travel. The Lovers. Maybe somebody's traveling towards a lover. Maybe this is a long distance connection relationship, or just you guys, you know, you have to go and see each other. So you have to, you know, maybe you live a little bit of a distance. I am seeing the Sun card, so healing. So there's some healing that's coming, and it will be satisfying and healthy and happy. You know, little healing there. I do think the Lovers, the Fair card. So the Queen of Swords is here. That represents fair, right? So fair. So somebody's gonna be fair. I'm also seeing the Hierophant here with the Six of Swords. So that is all about going in the right direction. Going in the right direction. But this could be travel also. So somebody might be traveling somewhere. Traveling to go see somebody, traveling to go heal something, heal with somebody. The Lover's card with the Queen of Swords is also about... excuse me, I'm hearing cutting through the bullshit too. So that's also what I'm hearing. Cutting through cut the shit. Cut the crap. Cut the shit. Cutting through the bullshit, right? I feel like somebody's gonna indulge themselves though. Somebody wants to indulge themselves in the Empress. Be cautious. Empress needs to be cautious. Okay. Defend yourself, self-defense. Okay, got you. Okay, got that, really. I feel like. This could also be surrender. This could also be somebody surrendering to an Empress also. So there's that. There's a lot of details in here, but I'm not really truly interested in dissecting it all and breaking it all down all meticulously. I don't have the energy for that right now, especially since I'm trying to put some energy into what I was working on, which was site stuff, design, website design, stuff like that. And I want to do that. So anyway, you know, yeah, quick read was basically there will be some healing to something. Somebody might be traveling towards somebody, you know, it's going to be a fair outcome. Yeah, the fair outcome is going to be there. So yeah, that'll be interesting. Maybe after I get off camera, I'll read or something like that. Maybe I record the reading or something like that. That might be a case. All right, well, I guess that's it. Be cautious. Surrender. Stand your ground. Yep. Stand your ground. That's all I need to hear. Stand your ground. That's the verdict. Okay? So keep that in mind. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, hit the bell so you get notification when I upload a video, smash the like button. I don't really know how to round out those conversations we were having earlier, honestly. I'm just into. Okay. Maybe we'll have another more deeper interpretation of that conversation. I guess what we really got out of it is, hey, celebrate your accomplishments no matter what they are, okay? No matter how big or how small they are. If they're important to you, then celebrate those accomplishments because they matter for you. You know, they're important to you. And also, don't let other people tell you what that should be, you know, or what that shouldn't be. Also, we were talking about how the pendulum swings back. You know, there's a lot of people who are practicing occultism and they are not considering the pendulum swings this way, but it has to go back that way. You know, the laws of the universe seeks the laws. The universe will always seek to find its balance, right? And you can fight off stuff for a long time, but eventually the clock turns, right? And eventually the clock strikes 12, no matter what you say. No matter how many times you try to alter it, it's still got to strike 12 at some point. So. I'm gonna get back to what I was doing, which is designing a website, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.